Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be learning about type conversion in Java. So here I took an integer variable called a and I initialized it to 5. We notice that if I change the data type of 5 to 5.0, since this is a double value and the data type of my variable is int, it's going to cause an error. However, in some cases, we would like to convert a value of one particular data type into a completely different data type. So in this case, I would like to convert my double to an integer so that I can store it in this int variable. To do this, we're going to use type conversion. For certain values, Java can automatically convert data type. For example, if I take a double variable over here called p and I set it to something like 5, you see that it works even though 5 is an integer. It doesn't cause an error. It automatically converts this integer into a double and stores it in this double variable. And this type of type conversion is what's known as implicit type conversion. But a question you might have is, why can't I convert this double into an integer, but I can convert an integer into a double? So if you look at this over here, you can see I have an integer value and I also have a double value. The int value is shown to be smaller because we know that an int only occupies 32 bits, while a double occupies 64 bits. An int is much smaller than a double. So if I want to convert an int to a double, I can do so. An int can be converted to a double because it's much smaller. But a double cannot be converted into an integer. Since it's much larger, you can't automatically convert something large like a double into an int. Basically, a smaller data type can always be converted to a larger data type. And this happens automatically, meaning I don't have to use special programming to make sure that this smaller data type gets converted to a large data type. As we've seen before, an int being smaller can be automatically converted to a double by Java. And this is usually the order in which this happens. So every value on the left can be converted to any value on the right. For example, my byte can be converted to a character, my int can be converted to a double, and my character can be converted to a long. And the long can also be converted to a double. But it doesn't work the other way around. A double cannot be converted to a long. So over here, I made this variable called a, which is set to this long number 12324. I'm going to make another variable of the double data type called b, and I'm just going to set it to a. We see that we get no error because remember, a long value can be automatically converted to a double. So Java is basically going to automatically convert this long to a double and use it over here. So when I print the value b, we notice we get a double answer. Our long value has been automatically converted to this double. But what if we need to do the opposite? What if we need to convert some larger data type into a smaller data type? So for example, what if I need to convert something like a double into a long? We know that Java doesn't do this for us automatically and it gives us an error. But we can tell the program, or in other words, we can force the program to convert a larger data type into a smaller data type. This is what we call explicit type conversion. So over here, I have my variable a, which is storing a double value. This is causing an error because the double data type is large and the int data type is much smaller. So what we'll do is we'll use explicit typecasting. And this is how we're going to do it. So basically, before this value, we're going to mention the data type into which we want to convert this value. So over here, I want to convert this double to an int. So what we'll do is we'll add these brackets before the value and we'll just add int. And you notice that we don't get any error. And when we print this variable a, it should print the integer 3. And as you can see, it does exactly that. Even though 3.0 is a double, using explicit typecasting, I've forced the program to convert 3.0 into an integer 3. But that comes at a cost. So let's say we change this value to something like 3.356. Remember, this is a double value which has a couple of digits after the decimal point. When I run this program, it really just cuts off that 0.356. We can't convert something like a double into an integer. So Java will have to remove all the digits after a decimal point. So we only get 3. Basically, when we do explicit type conversion, we may lose some part of our data. Now we're going to look at this arithmetic expression over here. I have a variable called a, which is set to 3, and I have a variable of the double data type called ans, which is set to 5 times 85 plus a. What Java is going to do is it's going to implicitly convert this a, which is an integer, to a double. Because remember, an int is smaller and a double is larger. So we can convert something of the int data type to a double data type. So even though the value of a is 3, since our variable is of the double data type, it's going to use 3.0 over here. This is important to remember, especially when you're solving or you're trying to find out what's the output of an arithmetic expression. Now I made a simple change. I removed our expression and added this println statement that's basically printing 5.0 times a. Since 5.0 is a double value, what Java is going to do is, since a is an integer and is smaller, it's going to automatically convert this 3 to a 3.0. It's going to multiply them and give our answer as a double. So when I run this program, you can see it prints 15.0, not 15. The reason it does this is because a 5.0 cannot be implicitly converted to an int, but a can be converted implicitly to a double. But if I really want an int answer, well, I can explicitly convert this whole expression into an int. I can just do that by adding these brackets over here and adding another pair of brackets with int. What this does is that it explicitly converts whatever answer I get over here. We get 15.0, but since we mentioned that we want to convert it into an integer, it's going to give us 15. So when I run this, it gives us 15. So what's important to understand from this println statement is that in any expression, if you have at least one value of a larger data type, so let's say in an expression which has 5 integers and one double, all of the integers are going to be implicitly converted to a double. So our answer is also going to be a double. However, this doesn't mean that the value of a changes to 3.0. In fact, if we add another println statement where we just print the value of a, we notice that we only get 3. So all Java is doing is it's modifying it and just using the modified value. It's not really changing the value in the variable. And that's all you need to know about implicit and explicit type conversion in Java. It's pretty simple, but it's really important. Thank you for watching and have a great day.